Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 218.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
In a very short period of time, we created, if I would have signed it, sorry, Money for Javier. How many of you have the ability to write the words I wrote and sign paper? Right? It's not a secret. Okay? You can walk people through a problem and a solution. That's what we do. And at the end of the day, what ends up happening is that it creates millions upon millions of dollars of value. That's what I like about real estate. Let's get back to it. Anybody got a question so far while I'm talking? Switching back. Anyone? Yes. Oh, I love it. Hold on. The microphone is coming. Whew. It is a little warm. Go for it.
How much influence did Robert Kiyosaki have on you?
How much influence did Robert Kiyosaki have on me? A ton. The first thing that happened for me is I played, what was your name? Lucas. The first thing I did is I played the board game. How many of you ever played the board game Cashflow 101? Yeah. Excellent. That's what happened for me, is that I played a board game. It said, in essence, it didn't care where you started, didn't care what color, what race you were, didn't care what job you had. It said there was a chance. That's something a guy growing up looking like me doesn't hear very often, unless I want to bounce a ball, sing a song, or play with that white powder stuff. Make sense? That is not the message I hear. So I had an alternate choice, especially something other than go to school, get good grades, and end up with a job that I didn't want and working next to people that I didn't like, wearing things that I didn't want to wear, driving in traffic that I didn't want to sit in. Anyone can relate to that? Why is lunch only an hour anyway? Dude, I need time, right? Anyway, you get my point. And who said I got to get permission to go pick up my sick kid from school? These things irritate the tar out of me, right? I didn't like that. But I didn't know what my options were until I played a game. What happened is some friends said, they were moving. They said, hey, come over, we're done moving. Perfect. There's some food and a board game. I like board games. That was the secret. You play a board game, I'm probably coming. And my wife loves food, so they had us both. We went over their house about 6 p.m. We left at 4 a.m. because I got addicted to this game, and a whole new world opened up to me that said, wealth is for everyone, and it meant me. That message was not a message that I was used to hearing, so it got me excited. And I wanted to know, if I could do this in a board game, what do I got to do it in real life? And that set me on this path. That's how I ended up becoming a financial planner, because I thought that was the thing to do. But it gave me clues along the way that eventually led to real estate. Make sense? So, yes, go ahead.
I got a lot of voice. If I had $44 million, how many people with $44 million are putting those type of investments in the 2.45%?
Got it. How many of those people with $44 million are putting those investments into 2.45%? A whole lot of them. Let me tell you why. The reason and I'm going to give you the secret right now. Here's the reason I like cell phone towers. Because especially if they're attached to a building. Because typically the owner who has it doesn't price the cell phone tower appropriately at all. They just sell the building, even though the tower is something completely different, right? But because so many people are putting money into 401ks, IRAs on that automatic debit, there's a lot of money at T. Rowe and Charles Schwab, et cetera, Blackstone. They've got more money than they know what to do with, and if they don't produce a return, because by mandate, when you actually, if any of you have ever actually read the prospectus from your mutual fund, you will see that they have to, by mandate, keep a certain percentage of that money invested. Period. They can't let it sit as cash, which means they may have to make what is known as a malinvestment in order to stay compliant with what the SEC says that they can do, which includes paying and or overpaying for certain asset classes, specifically cell phone towers, billboards, and anything that's easy for them to manage. That's who I sell them to. I can buy the cell tower, like $1,300 lease. A $1,300 lease. Let's do the math on this so that you can see this. $1,300 a month. Multiply that by 12. $15,600. That's $15,600 of yearly income. Someone take a guess at what I can sell that for on the market with competing, keyword, competing mutual funds right now. What's that? At least 50,000. Anyone else?
75.
Huh?
75.
75. What else? 100? Do I hear 101, 102, 103? Anybody? 100, right? Who's the closest without going over? You are all significantly under.
Because you're looking at such a low rate of return.
They can afford such a low rate of return because all the money's in 401ks. If they just produce a 3, 4, 5% return, it's okay for them. I wish I was joking, but that's what's happening to each and every one of your friends or you if you have your money at one of these institutions. I go out there and find the asset, I buy it for next to nothing, turn around and sell it. How long would it have taken me to earn $250,000 from this cell phone tower lease? Can we say long enough that it's worth selling? Because there's too much money and not enough assets. That's it. I'm not a genius. I'm just looking at supply and demand. That's obvious. How many of you would also make this deal? How many of you need no thought to make this deal? It's like, I'll do that all day long. How many of you now realize why I'm looking for more of these?
What are you picking those up, John?
I picked this one up. I paid for the building.
Oh, you paid.
I didn't pay anything. Yeah. That's what I am trying to communicate to you. I bought the building, not the tower. I separate the two, sell that off, and that's kind of cool. And still own the building. Ah! Where was the high school class on that? You know? That is not rocket science. Any one of you could have done it. It's just looking at the marketplace and interpreting correctly what's going on. So what does that mean? You know all these opportunities are out there. There's a 7-step process that I tend to teach people, and that says, here's how you get deals done. How many of you are excited about this right now? Yeah, a little bit more than you were before. Got it. Totally understand. Number one, you've got to realize that in general, there are 3 types of customers that your business, if you are in the business of doing real estate as an investment, you have generally 3 types of customers. How many? 3. You've got buyers, you got sellers, and then you got the people with the money. Buyers, sellers, and people with the money. The number one thing, please hear this, don't discount it. The number one thing you can do is learn to build a database of buyers, database of sellers, and a database of investors. To get started, your number one initial goal is 200 of each. 200 buyers, 200 sellers, 200 investors. 200 people who are looking to use their money, 200 people who are looking to buy an asset, 200 people who are looking to sell an asset. That's it. That's the beginning, okay? With that, you can begin to build an empire, okay? Investor leads is the key. The number 2, the next thing you must do, so that's steps 1, 2, and 3. Step number 4 is you must learn to become an expert. Provide value in some way, shape, or form. As I said earlier, you educate to dominate. Period. You educate to dominate. If you have trouble with the word marketing, how many of you like, he said the M, you said marketing. Ew, I don't know how to do that. All you got to do is teach people something. That's it. Who's been on YouTube ever? Excellent. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Which one did I forget? Instagram, right? They're out there. How many of you have seen this in action in some way, shape, or form? 12 ways to do this, click here. You know what they were doing? Educating a marketplace. Because what happens is when you educate someone, you become a position of authority with that person. And people, well, we're human. We like to do business with individuals that we know, like, and trust. And if I didn't ask you for anything, but I gave to you first, that's called the principle of reciprocity. The principle of what? Reciprocity. There's a book out there by Robert Cialdini called Influence. If you haven't read it, read it. Robert Cialdini. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. Because marketing is about employing these principles, Caldini. See if I get it right. Boom! Got it. First shot. So marketing is about employing these principles of influence and persuasion. One of the powerful ones is reciprocity. I give to you first. If I give to you first, especially without asking for anything, in return, you are that much more likely to at least like me. See, the cool thing is, when you first meet someone, they don't dislike you, but they don't necessarily like you either. And you got a shot at getting them to like you. And this is important. Okay? But you have to put yourself in that situation to educate, to dominate, becoming a resource for other people. Some ways, popular ways to do this today. A lot of the individuals that I work with, I teach you how to do one thing. And it sounds crazy, but it's play the cash flow board game with other people. That's it. That's like my super secret. Invite people to your house, play the cash flow game with them. I teach you a system. 6 weeks from the time you play with people, they're ready to write a check. Done. Now you have the money or you have the deal. You have the resource that you needed. Most of my team, from the writers to my CFO, to all of these things, I can trace back to a cash flow game where I met them or met someone who referred them to me. And that's how it was built. One silly board game at a time. Over and over and over again. I wish I was joking. This is anything from the $10,000 investor to the 7-figure investor playing a board game. Obviously, writing a book, I did that. We have a podcast in iTunes. How many of you have one of these wonderful, genius distribution devices in your pocket right now? Thank you for participating in revolution. That's the thing that this is. You used to have to beg for distribution. Part of the reason Walt Disney had trouble in the beginning of his career, the Walt Disney we know almost did not happen. Why? Because he couldn't get distribution for Bambi, Dumbo, and movies we all love today. And you know which movie it was that saved the day? I'll give you a hint. She's got a castle in Disneyland. Cinderella. That was the one that saved the day. Company was on the edge, but he got distribution for Cinderella. And suddenly things were okay, which gave them enough money to build the thing that actually stabilized the company. What do you think it was that they built that gave the company consistent cash flow so that they could produce the movies and take the losses and the hits and the risk of it working or not? Disneyland. Is that a real estate play? Good God. Are we getting it? Is it getting clearer? Disney wouldn't exist. They make great stuff, I'm sure. Your kids all love them, mine too. But it wouldn't be here. It would have stopped just before Cinderella, which is the same thing as saying nearly every movie you know right now or your kids know right now would not be here if not for a real estate play. And you know how he sold Disneyland and got people to come? You know what he did? He educated them on TV, because that was the new distribution model. That's what he did. He said he was going to teach people about Disneyland and nature. How many of you remember Disney's Mutual of Omaha and those Wild Kingdom? He educated to dominate. Did that work? A little bit? A lot of it. It's not new. Podcasting is like the new thing. I mean, it literally $5 a month, distribution to millions of people. It's insanity. It's awesome. We've already talked about Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You get that. Obviously, we're in those places. You probably have been to the website already. You see it on my shirt, sending emails, all this other stuff. Educate to dominate. When you learn to do that, you have influence. When you have readers, followers, all of those things matter. Okay? Who are you going to serve? That's what gets me excited. See, because we do these basketball camps from time to time with individuals, I've managed to get the attention of our men's USA basketball team. It's kind of cool. Let me ask you this question. Does a professional athlete have a need for help with their finances ever? Yes. The only difference was the size of the question that I was asking. The skill set can work just in this room, just like it can work for the professional athlete. And that's one of the things that we've started working on doing, is working to help the professional athlete do the exact same thing. So that after their playing days, because you know what the NFL really stands for, right? Not for long. Exactly. Right? After their playing days, they don't have to end up on the street selling jewelry or something. Right? Because they haven't been taught this either. Everybody's got the problem. You get to be the solution. That's the secret. Once you've established that you are the solution, the most important thing that I'm ever going to tell you is to follow the 70-30 rule. The what? 70-30. The 70-30 rule. It's very simple. They talk 70% of the time. I don't care who the they is, but they talk 70% of the time. If they're talking 70% of the time, by default, what? Two things must you be doing. Listening and asking questions. You are listening and asking questions. Husbands, you are listening and asking questions. Wives are suddenly like, dang it, I knew I should have brought him today. Right? That's the secret. See, now that people have come to bring you their problems, they know that you solve their problem, you have the ability to solve their problem, sit down and listen to them. Wouldn't it be interesting if you went to the mechanic? How many of you have ever had a car break down, like ever? Yeah, right? What if you called the mechanic and said, hey, my car broke down, and he went and said, cool, great, that'll be $1,000. What is wrong with that? He doesn't what?
He didn't ask you what the problem
You don't know what the problem is. But yet you want to pick up the phone, make an offer on a property, and you're like, hey, I'll pay you $200,000 for that house right now. Really? Why? You don't know. You just make a blind offer and think and wonder, how come they didn't accept it? Maybe it wasn't high enough. Maybe it has to be higher. They just want the highest offer. Kim, is that always true? No. It's about who can solve the problem. And the reason you didn't get the deal is because you didn't ask the question to find out what the problem is in the first place. But I did. Sep did. Ryan did. They're asking the question. And that's the difference. And it's very simple. I'm going to give you guys right now, if you use this, you will build your database faster than you have ever built it, and you'll find out more than you have ever found, and you will get more deals than you ever thought you could actually get done if you write down these 3 questions in this order.
As you probably have figured out by now, this is the second part of that live event that I did in San Diego, and you're just getting to sneak peek it, hear it. You know, if there are things in these live events that you like and you want more of it, one of the best ways to do that is to grab a free copy of my book, because you guys know, you've been podcast listeners for a while. You guys get a copy, electronic copy delivered straight to your email. Just send a text message. Text the word book, BOOK, to 72000. Again, text book to 72000. Fill in your details and we will send you a copy. Or you can just go over to cashflowdiary.com/free book. Same thing will happen for you there. And as mentioned recently, if you want to maybe chat briefly, very, very briefly, in 140 characters or less, feel free to look us up on Twitter at Cashflow Diary. Again, that's at Cashflow Diary. Hopefully, you like these live events. Maybe, who knows, one day I'll get to see you in person at one as well. But until then, let's get back to it.
Number 1, have you ever considered getting involved in real estate investing? What is the likelihood they're going to say yes? Have you ever considered getting involved in real estate investing? How hard is it to say no to that? Very. But here's the cool thing. I don't care whether they say yes or no, it's irrelevant. This is the one time you don't have to listen to the answer. Because no matter what they say, you're going to follow up with the same 2 words. Really? Why? Have you ever considered getting involved in real estate investing? Yes. Really? Why? Have you ever considered getting involved in real estate investing? No. Really? Why? I don't care. What matters is why they have or haven't considered getting involved in real estate investing. When you start to listen to that, they're going to tell you everything you need to know to help them further their education or take the journey with you into real estate investing, if you're brave enough to listen. I didn't say if you're brave enough to tell them how much you can do and how you know how to solve this and start using fancy terminology like subject to and I can do that. No. Listen. Wouldn't it be interesting if you walked into the doctor's office and say, hey, doc, I'm sick? He's like, cool, take 2 of these. Prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. And that's exactly what you're doing when you write an offer and you're just trying to throw something at the seller and going, well, you should totally accept this. You don't understand. The comps over here say this, and this is great compared to this, and do you understand? How about I close in 15 days? You don't even know that 15 days will work. They might need 45 because they got to move. But you didn't stop to ask. And this is the number 1 mistake I've seen so many real estate or would-be real estate entrepreneurs make. They just don't ask. Doesn't have anything to do with, I can do lease options, they're subject to, and I know the difference between a master lease and a contract for deed. All of those are just tools. Is anyone in here a plumber, carpenter, anything like that? Anyone? Yeah? Excellent. See, in his hands, you know what a hammer is? Useful. In mine, it's a weapon. That's it. And that's the difference between subject to, contract for deed, understanding how to purchase at an auction. I've got more tools with which to acquire properties. But I don't know which tool I need until I've asked the questions so that I can develop a plan that presents a proper solution. Can you build a house without a plan? No blueprints. Is it going to stand after it's done?
I don't know. I'm just going to sell it. Get out.
He's like, I'm just going to sell it and get rid of it because it probably isn't going to work. But yet, this is exactly what you do every time you try to write an offer without asking these questions. The number one thing that you need more of is practice asking questions. You don't need to know yet another trick on how to get seller financing. The reason you get seller financing is because it's a solution to the problem that existed. I need to sell the house. Well, how much do you need? I need $500,000. Really? You're going to put $500,000 right now on your living room floor and roll around in it? Well, no. Well, then what do you need? Well, I need 30 grand right now so that I can move. Awesome. What were you going to do with the other 470? I have no clue. Well, I have an idea. Would it help you at all? Instead of leaving it in the bank at 2.45%, how about I double that for you and pay you 4%? Compared to what? Right? Is that a good deal for that person in that situation who has no other option and no plan? The answer is yes. But you know why that happened? It's because I asked. Because I asked. How do you buy a cell phone tower using none of your own money or credit? Because I ask. How do you buy a 182-unit building for $1.8 million using none of your own money or credit? Ask. How do you raise tens of millions of dollars? By asking. And letting people know that you have the ability to solve a problem. That's it. And then I find the people who know how to build the darn thing, to run the darn thing, to put the tenants in place. They know which paperwork to use. That's not the highest and best use of my time. And that was a decision I made. Now, see, I was gifted this decision because I had none of my own resources to begin with. And I had a need to eat. Period. I had no choice. Here's the cool thing about real estate. At some point, you're going to run out of your own resources anyway, even if you have them right now. And you're going to have to learn how to access the resources of others through creative financing, raising capital, because you're going to get Fannie and Freddie'd out. And you're like, dude, I need another deal. It will happen. It's only a matter of time. I was just forced to figure it out first so that I could eat. That was my goal. It's eating. We all must learn to ask questions. It's what I call being a pig. Being a what? Pig. Professional information gatherer. That's it. Gather information. Let me show you something that all of you can practice today after we break and you get more appointments. How many of you would like more appointments tonight? Excellent. I need someone who has a business card on them. Anybody? Come here. Excellent. I just need, you have a business card on you? Yeah. Okay, for the sake of this discussion, we're going to pretend that this is my business card. And we're going to pretend he's going to ask me for my business card, okay? And I want you to watch what happens and duplicate, because what's important is if you duplicate this, you will get more business tonight. much faster than you normally do. The only thing I need you to do is ask me for my business card. Can you do that, Eric? Excellent. Give Eric a round of applause. Whenever you're ready, sir.
May I have your business card? Thank you.
That's interesting. Why do you ask?
I'd like to get to know you better.
Really? Why?
Because I think we have things in common.
Really? Like what?
You're at a real estate meeting and so am I.
That's true. That's true. What would you think we had in common?
You love real estate and making money, and I would like to learn how to make more.
Really? Make more? Make more than what?
More than I am now.
Awesome. Awesome. And how many deals have you done?
Just over 50.
Just over 50. Excellent. So maybe if you doubled that, that would help you?
That'd be awesome.
And you think I can help you with that?
I bet you could.
You bet you could. So let me ask you this. Do you think it makes any sense for us to sit down later and talk about this?
It would make a lot of sense.
Would tomorrow or Saturday work better for you?
Tonight would be great.
Tonight would be great. What did I leave with? An appointment. What do you normally do when someone asks you for the business card? You give it to them. And then what happens? They never call you. In fact, how many of you are willing to admit you have a really big stack of business cards in the corner of your desk wrapped with a rubber band that you have not called, but you meant to, and still have not done it? And for the 2 people you remembered to call, it took you a week to call them, left a message, hopefully they called back. And by the time you actually connected, both of you forgot where you met and what you wanted to talk about. And then when you remembered, you scheduled a time to meet another week later. 3 weeks have gone by, and what you wanted was the appointment. Did you learn anything right here that could help you possibly accelerate the rate at which you get an appointment with somebody? Yes. Give Eric a round of applause. You don't know why people are asking you anything. Because mom said, when somebody asks you a question, young man, what do? You answer it. That's not a professional information gatherer. That's the problem. Mom also said, don't talk to strangers. But when you go in business, who's the number 1 person you got to talk to? Strangers. Do you see how we were set up to fail? Now you can blame your parents. No, I'm just kidding. This is what I'm talking about. It's not that complicated. But by learning to become a professional information gatherer, I can find out why people want to meet with me now. Because that's what's important. You have a problem. There's a reason they're asking for the card. Find out. Remember? They walk through the emergency room door. Their arm is bleeding. You just don't know it because you didn't ask. It's just not obvious. Oh, I got to meet with you. Why? Well, I'm trying to move and I'm stuck in this house. Oh, how long have you been stuck in that? Well, we've been trying to get rid of it for 90 days. Well, what happened when the realtor came by and said, and why didn't you list it with them? Well, they said I couldn't. Really? Why? Oh, okay, cool. I think, you know what? Do you think it makes any sense for us to get together later and talk about that? Yes. Awesome. That's not hard, is it? That's it. And you sit down with them and ask more questions. That's really what it comes down to. And that's step number 5. Then you have to understand what I call investor identity. Everybody's in this real estate game for what the benefits that they want. Some of you, when I'll use terms that you're familiar with. Some of you want income. Some of you are in a growth stage. Some of you are looking for tax benefits. Others of you just want steady, predictable income streams, typically through mortgage interest, etc. Some of you want combinations of all of that. The challenge is when you go to raise capital, when you go to buy the property, or when you're talking to the seller to buy the property, you don't know what benefits are important to that person. So therefore, you think, here, I know, I got to pay them 9% interest to get their money. Seth, is this true? He fought me on this for a long time. He was like, Jay, you don't understand. They just want 9%, and that's what I got to pay 9 and 10 and 12%. Did you ask them? Well, why would they accept less? Did you at least find out what they're getting right now? No, I just offered 9%. Well, shoot, if you offer me 9%, I'll probably say yes too. But if you don't ask, hey, I'm only getting 2. I'll take 4. Triple it. You're good. But you didn't ask. And you're wondering, how am I going to make this work? I've seen people get 2% money, and I wish I was like, dude, that just felt wrong. But it was a good deal for the person. 2%, 30 years, makes no sense. But okay, it solved their problem. That's all I know. Because they take the time to ask.
And as they say, asking is half the battle. No, it's actually knowing for those of you who are G.I. Joe fans. Anyway, it's been fun talking to you guys soon. You guys have a great weekend. We'll catch up with you on Monday. Until next time.